when we say just noticing that something's not the way you want it, like helps you start changing and shifting things, right? Because then it comes brings it to the forefront of your consciousness rather than it being unconscious. And so just noticing how you accept love, how you give love, and like and where you're kind of at might be the simplest and quickest way just to start the ball rolling if you're not already on this journey of allowing. Just noticing people on the street, like asking you if you're okay. Like if you think about that, like how busy we are all in our lives and how like uh self-indulged, if you will, like just concerned about our own sphere, for somebody to stop whatever they're doing and open the door for you or ask if you're okay or even just say hi. Like if you really think about it and think about from your own perspective, like how busy you are, like that's amazing. Like that is love. That's a level of love. People are stopping to like give this little moment to you, right? Or the random acts of kindness, right? People just doing things just to be nice, just and not expecting anything out of it. Like that's coming from like a loving place. And like you just saying that actually really just hit hard for me, just like just to notice those tiny little moments and whatnot.
Yeah, and it's all love.
Yeah.
I was just going to mention that, I mean, you talked about, being able to notice and that, shifting into consciousness. When I think about, things that I focus on for myself, if you have, the environment, the behaviors, your skills and abilities, your beliefs and values, you're literally reprogramming your mind with all of the stories that you've had in your life or that somebody has told you. Coming from a family who had a professional storyteller in the house, um, we literally, what's funny is we used to literally just watch people and make up stories and, like figure out what do we think they're doing, or it's like if somebody cuts you off, are they like trying to get to the hospital to see somebody that got sick, or like you have no idea what's actually going on. But it starts to help you look at your own mindset about your environment or your behavior, because your identity is kind of at the core. And so when you identify certain things, I feel like when we're talking about love, it takes several layers for you to get to that core of yourself so that you can receive that love. But a lot of times unfortunately, it's a shift in mindset, because I think at some point you realize you're not a kid anymore and you're, off to try to do something else. But really, we're trying to get back to ourselves, I think, all the whole time.
And just even thinking about how you're saying, are they going to the hospital or whatever? I just wanted to even go one step further. What if someone's yelling at you? They're actually in your face. It's not a mistake. They're actually yelling at you, going through all these processes that we're talking about. I actually realized, wow, that person really cares.
They're passionate about what they're
right,
saying, right?
right. And I've even stopped an argument, quite a few times now, where I say, wow, thank you for caring. And they're like, they get even more mad for a second. They're like, what are you talking about? I'm so mad. I was like, yeah, exactly. You wouldn't act like this if you didn't care. If you didn't care, you wouldn't even raise your voice. You would have kept proceeding on. It wouldn't have mattered. But obviously you care so much that you got angry. And they're like, oh yeah, I do care. And then I'm like, oh, so what do you care about? And now we've lowered the whole energy of the thing, and we can actually talk about the root of it, because really it's the roots, right? So on the surface, we're doing all these things. I know personally myself, I've gotten angry to hide how hurt I was. I've laughed, even though I was crying inside, right? Sometimes we let these different emotions go on the surface. And if we would all take more notice and notice that that's a surface level thing. And if you go deep enough, you could actually find the root of that, even if it's someone yelling at you.
I've noticed for me that when I get that upset or when I have that level of anger, it's because I'm not feeling loved sometimes, or maybe not feeling heard. And so it comes out in that way when all I'm asking for is like, show me some love. Like, give me
Give
a
me a
hug. That's what I need. My husband has learned that if I yell at him about, eating the last piece of chicken that's in the fridge, he's like, okay, hold. You're making way too big a deal about chicken. Like, what's really going on? So he's learned at this point that if something manifests in that way, it's because there's something else going on. So it's interesting that you say that, Melissa. And I think that's a beautiful way to look at it. And I think we need to do more of that to realize, like, wow, what must be happening? And then I love that tip, Steve. Like, how do we diffuse that? And how do we like peel back the layers of whatever that is to understand like what's really going on? And it's probably just that somebody wants to be heard in some way or loved.
Or seen.
Or seen. Absolutely.
Right. How many children do we see where they get louder and louder just because they want to be seen? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We do
I
that
think we
too.
do that. Yeah.
It might not be holding our breath in the grocery store aisle. We don't do it in that way, but we act it out in some other way. It's all about, like, I think trying to find your words and maybe not knowing or not. It's a lot harder to be vulnerable and like share your heart and share what you're afraid of or share what you need than it is to be on the, the aggressive, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, it's so funny because I thinking back of a story when I was maybe 18 or 19, and I had inherited this huge unit of folks when I worked at a retail bank at the time. And what's interesting is there was this one woman who became my mentor, and she used to have to fire people all the time. And I'm telling you, it was amazing to watch because every time somebody came out of that room, they would like be hugging her and thanking her. And, at that, I mean, I was like, what is happening? Like, how does she do that? But she always focused on the person. What was going on. She was a wonderful communicator that really kind of tapped into help them understand themselves. Like, why was this job not working for them? Most of the time, it was because they didn't want to be there. They wanted to be doing something else. It was like, so she was able to really tap into that so that they could really go off and take a next step that was really more about who they were and where they wanted to be.
Which comes back to loving yourself.
Yes.
Thanks for listening to the More Business, More Life podcast. I hope you got value. And if you did, we have so many more things for you at stevenapolitan.com. You'll be able to connect with us on social media. We are active. You can ask us questions. I look forward to having you on the next show. Until then, remember, choose gratitude and create freedom.